New York City home to the most iconic advertisements in the world. From towering billboards in Times Square to colorful subway ads, this city is an advertising legend. But have you ever wondered how it all began? Our journey begins in the 1700s, when New York was still a growing colonial town. Advertising in those days was simple: handbills, posters, and newspaper announcements. Businesses advertised goods like textiles, spices, and even ship schedules in the New York Gazette, the city's first newspaper. It was the foundation of an industry that would one day define the city. The New York Gazette, founded in 1725, became one of the first platforms for printed advertisements in the city. These ads often announced ships arriving with goods, upcoming auctions, or services like tailoring and printing. A tailor might advertise custom suits for the wealthy elite, while a cobbler promoted durable leather shoes for sailors. By the 1800s, New York City's population was booming, and so was its advertising. The Industrial Revolution brought mass production, creating a need to promote new consumer goods. Large-scale billboards appeared along major roads and railways. Painted directly onto brick walls or wooden boards, they advertised products like soap, tobacco, and patent medicines. Lithographic printing allowed businesses to produce colorful posters in large quantities, plastering them across neighborhoods. With the introduction of horse-drawn streetcars, ads began traveling across the city, reaching commuters as they moved. In 1867, Barnum and Bailey Circus promoted their shows with vibrant billboards and posters, marking one of the first large-scale advertising campaigns in NYC. You can see on the pictures Byron Company, street scenes, Broadway and 42nd Street, 1898. Times Square, formerly Longacre Square, became the hub for advertising in New York City in the early 20th century. The area transformed from a quiet part of the city into a bustling commercial district with illuminated advertisement. In 1904, the square was renamed after the New York Times, and the first electric billboard was unveiled, a bold sign for the newspaper itself. The first electric billboard, promoting the New York Times, was erected in 1904. It lit up the night sky and marked the beginning of illuminated large-scale advertising in NYC. You can see this view of Times Square, the long sightlines of the bow tie, and O.J. Goode's positioning of his Trimble Whiskey Spectacular at 47th Street for maximum display in 1904. The sign was quickly replaced by a sign for a rival whiskey brand, Sanderson's. By the early 1910s, the owners of the Studebaker building realized it was more profitable to lease their roof for spectaculars and replaced their discreet sign with a huge scaffold for mounting higher signs at this strategic site. By the 1920s, neon technology transformed advertising. Invented in Paris, neon lighting arrived in NYC and quickly became a favorite. Neon lighting revolutionized outdoor advertising. These colorful and attention-grabbing signs, powered by neon gas, became the hallmark of Times Square and surrounding areas. The first animated neon sign in Times Square was a Wrigley's gum ad, debuted in 1924. You see postcard view of a second full-block Wrigley's Spectacular on the east side of Broadway from 44th to 45th Street above the International Casino. This sign lasted from 1936 to 1960, with a brief hiatus during World War II. Madison Avenue's dominance. By the 1940s, New York's Madison Avenue became the heart of the advertising industry, housing major advertising agencies like J. Walter Thompson, BBDO, and Young and Rubicam. These agencies shaped much of the advertising world and created groundbreaking campaigns. This era, often called the Mad Men era, saw New York agencies dominate the global ad industry. Television advertising. With the rise of television in the 1950s, advertising expanded from print and billboards to the small screen. Brands like Coca-Cola, Marlboro, and Lucky Strike invested heavily in TV commercials, connecting directly with millions. The mid-20th century gave birth to some of the most famous ad campaigns. For example, Coca-Cola's "I'd Like to Buy the World a Coke," 1971, one of the most memorable campaigns ever, promoting unity through the shared enjoyment of Coca-Cola. Camel's smoking billboards. The Camel cigarette brand pioneered the idea of a smoking billboard in Times Square, which emitted smoke rings from the sign as part of its advertisement in 1941. Marlboro's Marlboro Man campaign, conceived by a Madison Avenue agency, became one of the most iconic and enduring ads of all time. The Marlboro Man campaign, launched in the 1950s, became a symbol of masculinity and was extremely successful in selling Marlboro cigarettes across the country. The 1980s and 1990s saw the shift from traditional neon signs to digital billboards. In Times Square, the first digital billboard was installed in 1981, using LED technology to showcase ads with much greater flexibility and brightness than earlier static displays. The expansive New York City subway system became a key venue for advertisements, with posters appearing in subway cars and stations. These ads targeted commuters and could not be avoided in the city's dense transportation network. The 1990s saw the rise of guerrilla marketing techniques, where brands used unconventional methods to promote their products. Graffiti art, sticker campaigns, and interactive installations became more common in NYC, especially in trendy neighborhoods like Soho. The best ad from this time is the Nike Just Do It campaign, 1988, which was a revolutionary example of print, radio, and street ads merging into a powerful, cohesive message across NYC. Today, New York City is at the forefront of advertising innovation. The LED screens of Times Square are brighter, sharper, and more engaging than ever. Interactive ads. Many Times Square ads now feature interactive elements like QR codes or augmented reality experiences. Mobile and social media ads. With the rise of smartphones, brands target consumers through highly personalized online ads. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube have become the new ad battlegrounds. Experiential marketing, pop-up events, and installations like Spotify's Wrapped campaign in NYC subway stations blur the lines between physical and digital advertising. You can see a recent campaign by Disney Plus took over Times Square, with digital screens seamlessly interacting to create a city-wide narrative. From handbills and posters to digital billboards and viral campaigns, New York City has always been a stage for the evolution of advertising. It's a reflection of our changing world and a window into the creativity that drives it. What's next for advertising in the city that never sleeps? Subscribe for more deep dives into